So the rumor is, guys, is that Trials is on its way back. Now, whether it's coming back next week or next year, we have no idea. And if there's one thing I never try to predict, it's Bungie's timing. We'll have exotic catalysts in the database for like upwards to a year before they finally release. So I gave up a long time ago predicting when exactly Bungie's gonna do things. But the question of if Trials is returning or not seems to be something that's in the works, considering we have Elimination in front of us. And we've seen many variants of Elimination rotating week to week, giving us a different look, which is bringing us to today's video. Are we currently ready for Trials? More notably, is our Sandbox ready for Trials? Now, before we get into today's video, we have a sponsor. Yes, I know, I'm being that guy right now. Today's sponsor is actually Astro. They make some great quality products, and they just recently sent me one of their ASTRO.ID headsets for the A40s. Now, I've had the regular A40s, the wireless A50s, and now we have the ASTRO.ID, which essentially allows you to customize your headset in whatever way you want to customize it. Now, the biggest benefit out of this, despite whatever color scheme you want to choose, is the comfort. Listen, guys, if you are gaming for many hours on end, you know that an uncomfortable headset will make your gaming session miserable. The ASTRO.IDs, one thing I really like about them is, number one, they're super comfortable, most notably because it's leather, and with it also being leather, it doesn't seem to trap heat nearly as much as our regular A50s and A40s. And this seems to be something default with all the ASTRO.IDs. So if you happen to be looking into Astros, I know Christmas is around the corner. I know I got some ladies in here that are looking to buy a gift for the man. Get the ASTRO.IDs. Super comfortable, customizable, yet still maintains that sound quality that the regular A50s and A40s have. With that being said, guys, let's talk about today's video. Are we ready for Trials in our current Sandbox? So number one, let's just go over Elimination. I've been playing so much Elim, and it's been pretty fun for the most part, but about 4 or 5 games in, you start to realize some of the things and holes in your Sandbox that would spell nightmare for Bungie if, say, Trials was to launch tomorrow. And considering how long it takes for Sandbox updates to roll out, on some level, you have to be adjusting for Sandbox now. Even if Trials is a year out from now, you have got to be looking at the Sandbox and figuring out what you should tweak before a competitive mode like Trials is to relaunch. So first up, Elimination so far, the different variants that I've played, this one seems to be the least heavy focus, as it takes like upwards to like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes for heavy to spawn, and there doesn't seem to be an objective. Now, this one also doesn't seem to have a countdown period, as you know in something like Comp. As the game progresses, say if your enemy doesn't actually show themselves, eventually a capture point will pop up, right? And you go and capture that point. At least in this variant of Elimination, I have not seen that capture point. This seems to be very open-ended, purely 3v3 elimination, and that's it. Also, another thing about this is there doesn't seem to be res tokens, as in you can res your teammates over and over again with no penalty. Now, there's a couple of different variants here. Number one, the other variants of Elimination that I've seen is heavy seems to spawn a lot sooner, meaning the team that wants to be the victor needs to lock down the heavy position as quickly as possible, aka every lane around heavy has a sniper scope there. Now, there's not as much freedom here. Obviously, the game is pushing you to a position on the map very quickly, but the result is it's very fast matches. Now, the other variant of Elimination I've seen is limited res tokens. This actually makes Elimination even more unforgiving than what it already is, which I'm not really for. Like, Elimination already on its own is super unforgiving. If you got that one blueberry or that one teammate that goes around a corner and he messes up and he peeks a lane that he's not supposed to, and he gets his head taken off, more than likely that team is going to win. They're going to collapse on you and your friend, and it's game over. If you somehow juke the team out, get back to your friend, get the res, push him out of the way to keep him from getting res sniped, and somehow stay alive, well then, I feel like that should be rewarded. So again, the nature of Elimination being as unforgiving as it already is shouldn't impose even more unforgiveness by limiting res tokens. So that has been the spectrum of Elimination so far. Bungie just went with like total freedom, objective free, unlimited reses to limited reses, majorly objective focus by presenting heavy quicker within the rounds. What we have not seen is a style very similar to D1's. Like, we have some similarities, of course, but D1 had a system where it was like round 1, round 2, then round 3 would spawn heavy in the middle of the map, pretty much right at the beginning of the round. And you had to fight over that heavy, right? And then, of course, you had round 4 and round 5. 4 out of the 5 rounds were decided on your gun skill alone and not on heavy. Now, granted, this week in Elimination, I haven't gotten a single heavy kill, I don't think. Maybe one. It takes almost 2 minutes for heavy to spawn, so the chances of even running into heavy with the spawn happening that late is slim to none. So this is like Bungie's way of almost eliminating heavy almost completely, but it still presents somewhat of an objective and an advantage given to those teams that actually push up and lock down that point, which you should have that. I'm actually okay with this week's variant. I can see the rounds though getting stupidly long. If something like Trials was present and people were really going for it round after round, players would be playing back and waiting and waiting and waiting and sitting behind a corner and waiting. I think on some level it would be nice that within like 4, maybe 5 minutes at most, an objective control point pops up that you would need to capture. Now, let's talk about Sandbox, because there are some very concerning things. Number one, there are weapons that break the entire ecosystem here in Elimination. One of those weapons is Revoker. That is the pinnacle sniper. It has the ability to regenerate one shot that you miss. Now, it's not as powerful as something like Icebreaker. Icebreaker used to generate 6 shots, and we had no special ammo back then, which was really stupid. Revoker is still going up against other special weapons. The issue with something like Revoker is that people can take risks and shoot shots out, miss, but not have to deal with the downsides of having no ammo. Whereas other snipers, even if they are better snipers, if you shoot those 2 shots at the beginning of the round, that's it. Now you got to push up with the primary. Good luck. Revoker bypasses those things. And as someone who lived through the Icebreaker meta back in Trials of Osiris, it does concern me. No, it's not as potent as Icebreaker, but it's still allowing for people, especially in this Elimination variant, where there's so much freedom in terms of having no objective in place. Many enemies will sit in the back of the map with the Revoker and wait for you to finally make the first move. So that is weapon number 1 that's concerning. The next set of concerning things, and by the way, I'm not pointing out that Revoker needs to be removed or nerfed or anything, but everything I'm outlining here are things that will be a problem in some capacity inside of Trials of Osiris if it was to exist today. Now, the next thing that would be a problem for sure is artifacts and their mods. I have a lot of fun with artifacts and artifact mods, and I know the whole thing around artifacts is, hey, those mods will be replaced season after season, so what's broken today will not be broken tomorrow. The point is that they can change the game for you substantially, even in a 3v3 environment. I'm okay with artifact mods in 6v6. I'm even okay with artifact mods in comp, although I would still like it to be removed from comp. But hands down, artifact mods cannot exist inside of something like Elimination or Trials. Now, artifact mods, I know, not all of them are bad. Obviously, having enhanced hand cannon loaders, it's extremely nice considering it only costs 1 with the artifact mod, but even that gives you a big advantage, because now you can rock enhanced impact induction, momentum transfer, fastball. I mean, there's so many things you could rock by having that artifact mod only costing you a very small percentage of what an enhanced perk would cost you. So I think overall, for the sake of balance, artifact mods should not be present in Elimination or in Trials. Now, with those things out of the way, there are other weapons that are a little bit concerning. Revoker was the only one that I felt like broke the ecosystem in some ways, but the last thing, the thing that would make or break Trials, is actually not even Sandbox related, and it's completely on Bungie's end, and that is our servers. Our servers, our connections, cheaters, and zero tolerance going forward with all of them. One of the most aggravating things back in D1, and it still occurred inside of D2 when Trials of the 9 was present, was cheaters. Whether that was network manipulation, somebody modding their weapons, lag switching, there is so many different things that people did to cheat inside of Trials. And Bungie has got to be faster and more aware of these things. If they cannot protect us and have the quality of servers that won't allow these things to be present, they have to have a policy where people will get immediately banned for all of these things. Now, something that was brought up the other day by my friend Jay, he made a great suggestion. He said Trials should only be available to players who have bought an expansion inside of Destiny. Now, the reason why we say that is because all of these new light players that are coming in, who are probably all innocent, are completely fine, and I would love them to join us in Trials. But there are people out there that actively cheat inside of Destiny who will actively keep cheating every single week, especially if new light players are allowed to play Trials, because they'll just make a free account every week. If it gets banned, oh well. They don't need guns to beat you inside of Trials. Most of these guys beat you by just kicking you to orbit. There's literally videos of people doing it from their iPhone. Because of our peer-to-peer servers that we have, people can see your IP address. And on some levels, we can protect ourselves. Obviously, obviously VPNs, which most PC players have access to. But I'm telling you, Jay is right on that one. The best way to keep that from happening on a regular basis for those that try to make trials a business for themselves, but not necessarily carrying people, because I'm okay with people carrying people. I'm okay with you taking your friends. On some level, I'm okay with account recoveries. All of those things are way better than the guys that sit there and actually DDoS you or lag switch or some other manipulation that results in you losing. Having it to where you have to buy at least one expansion results in these players that are actually trying to turn this into a business, them actually burning money every time they want to do something like this. And Bungie, if you're not going to give us the servers that we need, desperately need for a game mode like Trials, you need to have zero tolerance when it comes to cheaters. It needs to be insta-ban, and you got to make examples out of folks. I don't even care if you put up a wall on your Twitter feed pointing out the names of the people you recently banned. Let us know that you're actually putting work in to get rid of these cheaters. And by you actually showing that, hey, we're not messing around here. We will ban you, your friends, everyone you love if you fuck with us. And I know I'm sounding pretty damn extreme right now, but I have gone through this so many times. I used to actively carry people in the community all throughout Destiny 1 and even into Destiny 2. And part of the reason why I quit completely, like I just quit doing trials completely, was the amount of cheaters that constantly slid by every single week. I saw the same names every single week. And with the game going free to play, if those new light players have access to trials, it's only going to get worse. Now that kind of sucks because we want everyone to enjoy trials. I think if you either bought an expansion, bought a season, or both of those things, you automatically have access to trials. And it's not pay to win. It's just purely making sure that people don't have unlimited burn accounts to rampantly cheat in the game. So guys, those are my biggest concerns with trials coming back to Destiny again. I don't know when it's going to happen. I hope it's sooner rather than later. But if it was to launch today, it would be a disaster. There's too many things right now that are staring us in the eyes, more so on the network and server side than on our sandbox. But even in our sandbox, there are things that break the ecosystem. Artifact mods shouldn't be allowed. There's a couple of other things that I left off this list, but I really wanted to emphasize how make or break the servers and Bungie's responsibility with dealing with cheaters immediately. There does not need to be a 6-month history of a player to see whether or not he's cheated. You can see it immediately, and Bungie's got to react much faster than what they did back in D1 and in D2 with Trials of the 9. So guys, that is my thoughts on Trials. Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, feel free to open up a discussion about Sandbox and artifact mods. If you think I'm wrong about it, say something. I'm open for all ideas. As far as Elimination so far, I very much have been enjoying it. I don't want to see that ruined by cheaters again. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.